Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Hi, Nina. Hi, everyone. Nina, we are streaming like live right now to YouTube. Are you going to be able to turn your video on for us this evening?
I thought my video was on. You can't see me? The video is on. I
Let me see. Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
I had to stop sharing my screen. Oh, there you are. You look so beautiful as always.
you. Thank you. You
Uh,
too. Thank you so much.
I guess I should turn my video on now, huh? All right, here we are. Conversations with LA. Welcome everybody. Welcome Nina, Queen Mother.
Yes,
Um,
Queen.
um, we're here this evening to talk about urban agriculture and
Woohoo.
getting healthy foods to people and community gardens we'll maybe touch on and just anything that we can plant in the ground in our city and make it grow. So,
Exactly. And
uh,
spread it internationally.
yeah, well,
Start
it's
locally and evolve internationally.
we'll plant the seeds here in LA and water them and see if they will grow worldwide.
Exactly.
Um, so Nina, do me a favor and just a couple of minutes, tell folks who you are, what you do, why you're doing it, and all that good stuff.
Sure, sure. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everybody. My name is Queen Nina Womack. I am born and raised in South Los Angeles, the third generation here. I have spent my whole entire life in entertainment, starting out as a child actor and print model, and I have my degree in theater arts, and so now I'm an actress, adult actress, and also a
Oh, but
film.
don't say adult actress because
Not born,
I
right?
stop you there before people got the wrong impression on you.
Exactly, exactly. Meaning I
Oops.
moved from a child actor to a grown up. So, but yes, so I'm a producer, a film producer, event organizer. I like, organizing and directing and putting on things. I'm also a stage director and producer. And so I've spent a lifelong in the entertainment industry. And then in 2010, I started a multimedia company called Transmedia 360. And we're focused on social impact entertainment. So the projects that my company is involved with, the things that we initiate, like in the past, I've directed and produced gang prevention documentaries, things about racism. So everything that I do that I'm directly involved with needs to make a social impact. So in 2015, fast forward when I started the company Transmedia 360 in 2010 to 5 years later, I started a brand, a wellness brand called Let's Be Whole, WHOLE. And Let's Be Whole uses the power of multimedia to educate people about natural health and wellness. So, how we can use integrative medicine to help deter, some of the usual medical visits we may have to go through if we weren't using herbs or learning how to de-stress ourselves through yoga and meditation and sound therapy and arts therapy and aromatherapy. These are some of the techniques and programs that Let's Be Whole offers primarily underserved communities. And I started that with creating Let's Be Whole for underserved communities because I grew up in South LA, like I said, but I noticed when I went to the West Side, to the more affluent areas, they had lots of yoga studios and healthy grocery stores and holistic, naturopathic medicine and so forth, but you don't find that in the hood. So I felt like it was important to bring those resources. So I generally work with holistic practitioners that reflect that community. So primarily they're Black and Latino holistic practitioners teaching to that demographic, but I also have white holistic practitioners, Asian, so it's just to have more of a balanced reflection of when it comes to wellness. And so I started that doing workshops and wellness fairs, holistic wellness fairs in 2015. Then in 2018, we branched out to a ministry that's very dear to my heart, which is food recovery, food justice, food sovereignty work. So I had an opportunity to inherit a food bank, a mobile food pantry from this lady that I knew, who she was picking up food from Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, and she passed away. And so the community where she was giving it to, which was my community in South LA, everybody was worried about how this food program was going to continue after this lady's death. So me having the humanitarian helpful heart that I do have, I stepped up to the plate and said, I will make sure that the program continues. So I started picking up the food. I introduced myself to the stores and said, I'm, taking over now that the lady passed away. And so I've been giving out food throughout Los Angeles County, along with wonderful, wonderful volunteers and partners. And it takes a village when it comes to feeding the community or doing anything of humanitarian efforts. So
Yeah, one of those partners happened to be the Rampart Village Neighborhood Council for 8 weeks
yeah,
last summer. Yay!
of
Yeah.
course, of course, of course. So it was a pleasure to work with you, Rachel,
Yeah.
together as we were serving the community in Rampart Village. And you
Yep.
see that it is a lot of work that's involved. But
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah. And especially in the sweaty heat, and sorting it all out, get it into bags, and yeah, it was quite the process, I have to say.
exactly, exactly.
But
So
having,
after,
go ahead.
well,
I was gonna say, having worked in the restaurant industry, in my younger years, yeah, it wasn't any big deal, but it was hard work. It was a lot of work. Yeah.
it is, yeah, yep. And now since the COVID, Let's Be Whole has been doing a mobile food pantry 3 times a week. So that's a lot of heavy lifting and coordinating and working with the various communities and so forth. But I'm committed that we do offer this service for several reasons. One, because it offers nutrition security for human beings so they can have access to
Yeah.
healthy and organic food with no excuses. And also, we help reduce climate change so this food would not wind up in the landfill, which is also a concern of mine as someone who's passionate and concerned about the environment.
Yeah. So I guess it was late last year you went to Ghana, and uh, that's how you became queen or something.
Yeah.
I still don't know that I understand that story. Can you straighten me out on that?
Sure, sure, sure. Well, when I told you I got my degree in theater, I minored in Black history. And
Oh,
so growing up as a child in South LA, we didn't have, through the media, we didn't have really powerful, strong images of people of African descent. I remember as a child, my idol was Shirley Temple. And I
and
remember
she's not black.
I know she was not black.
Not
Blonde
black.
hair, white girl. And that's how, I had the same curls like her, but I was
Oh, you
black,
did?
and it's like I was a child actor, she was a child actor.
Oh,
I
right.
admired her and I wanted my life to be like her. So I was such a fan as a child. And then when I looked at her sidekicks, her friends, which were really, really crazy looking with their braids sticking all over their hair, and they were dark skinned and they couldn't barely speak proper English and so forth. They were portrayed to be really ignorant. I remember at 4 and 5 years old thinking like, oh, I don't want to be like those girls because they're stupid and they're not pretty. I want to be like this girl, Shirley Temple. So I grew up with that kind of image impressed in a child's mind. And then also when the movie Roots came out, I remember watching Roots, with my whole
I
entire
remember when
family.
Roots came out. Yep.
And then when I viewed the black people on Roots, they were portrayed to me as a youth as subservient, submissive. They were beaten down by the white man, and so I didn't want to associate with that either. Because who wants to be associated with a group that seems weak and they are poor and so forth. So I disassociated with my Black culture. And then when I went to college at LACC to get my degree in theater arts, we had to take a history class as part of our general education. And so I went to sign up for American history. It was like 7 offerings, and all of them were filled up. All the classes were full. So I talked to my counselor and I was like, what am I going to do? All the classes are full. How can I get my GE in? And then she says, well, Nina, there is one history course that would qualify as American history, and that is Black history. And so I wasn't too excited. And I was like, well, okay, that's fine. If that's available, I'll take it.
Right.
And then when I showed up on the first day of class, it was like 13 people in the whole class. Like it was wide open. Nobody hardly was in that class. And Rachel, that was the class that absolutely changed my life. It instilled a sense of self pride in me as a Black woman because I learned some truths that I didn't know existed about the history of Africa and people of African descent. Like in the ancient times, they had very advanced empires and they had created iron tools even before the European cavemen, and they had religious institutions and they created art, all kind of beautiful pottery and carvings and so forth, and organized political and religious institutions. And I was just blown away because I had never heard or known any of this stuff before. So I was like, okay, so my ancestry comes from Africa, and then that developed the self pride in me. So I became a scholar and passionate about African history and the people of Africa. So here in Los Angeles, I've been promoting African culture for probably over 20 plus years. My first physical interaction with the culture of Africa was on an event. One of my first events I was ever a producer on, which was called the African Marketplace and Cultural Fair, which went on for 22 years here in
Wow.
South Los Angeles. And it was a 3-weekend event. We used to have like 250,000 people come out over the course
Wow.
of the 3 weekends. We had
Yeah.
major sponsors, yep, and 4 different stages. We had a North American stage, a Caribbean stage, an African stage, and it was mixed with a children's stage. And then we had all these vendors who were from different parts of Africa, from Black Americans to Nigerians, and then we had Caribbeans. Like everybody came out and sold their wares for these 3 weeks. So that even deepened my understanding of the culture of Africa, but I had never gone to the country before. I just knew about it from a collegiate level. And then I had that physical experience in Los Angeles. So around that time, I had a dream, I had a vision, a passion that eventually I would make all this money in entertainment. As a producer and as an actress, I would be the next Oprah Winfrey and have the capital myself to go invest and do development in Africa. I also wanted to bring my media, my entertainment skills to teach Africans. And so that's how I thought, any minute I would amass this wealth so I could go do that development. But time went by and the wealth did not come. And so it just remained a dream in my heart
Yeah.
for, over 15, 20 years. And then about a couple years ago, I connected with a friend of mine on social media who is a traditional chief in Ghana. And so I expressed to him about my longtime dream that I had to want to bring development to Africa and bring my entertainment skills there. So he was like, well, Nina, you can do it now. Like, let's just work together and you can do
Yeah.
it. And so it hit me that yes, I could use other people's money, that I don't have to have all this money myself, but there are grants, there are investors, there's crowdfunding, there's so many resources that I can do to make that dream a reality. So that linked me up with someone in Africa, and I saw it. This was just a couple years ago, like I said. So I saw my longtime dream becoming, that I said, okay, well, this is a possibility. This could really happen. And then when coronavirus hit, it seemed like the doors just opened up to this longtime vision that I had, because we were confined to our houses, as you know, and then that forced me to get on WhatsApp and start talking to people in Africa. And people kept adding me to their WhatsApp groups. Like I'm in a food sovereignty group in Ghana, and there's like 200 people on this WhatsApp group. And then I'm on another group with the diaspora and real estate. And so I'm meeting and interacting and talking through social media, through WhatsApp, to all these people in Africa who share the same vision for us to work together and build together and trade between America and Africa and the Caribbean, other parts of the world. So I was finally able, after all these years, to make it to Africa. December 2020, I went to Ghana. And because of the friends, the relationships that I formed, they know that the humanitarian work that I've been doing here locally in Los Angeles with the food distribution and teaching people about health and wellness. And so someone that I knew over there felt like I would be a great fit to be queen mother of development in a particular village. And so they asked me if I had time to be installed, to be inducted as a queen mother for development. So we had a big ceremony. That was December 20th, 5 days before Christmas. And they carried me around on their shoulders and they dressed me in their royal cloth, which is called kente cloth. And kente cloth, it takes 2 weeks to make a piece of kente, and it's hand woven. This is my kente that I was installed in. And it's a
Beautiful.
beautiful royal, yeah, the kings and queens in Africa and Ghana wear this. And so,
Uh-huh.
yeah, so my installment name is Nana Akwesiwa the First. And Nana means chief. So I'm a female chief. It also translates to queen mother. So Nana Akwesiwa the First. And
Equisiwa.
Akwesiwa.
Equisiwa.
Yes, Akwesiwa. And so, yeah, so my job as development queen is to help bring development to that particular village. I'm queen mother in the central region of Ghana in a area called a district called Ikumfi. Ikumfi. And so they want me to bring resources. And like I said, this is something that I had dreamed about for years. I wanted to do exactly this. So I finally got what I wished for.
I am so happy for you, and
Oh, thank you. Thank
it's so
you.
exciting.
Very, very exciting. Very exciting.
So, we started off by saying, LA and, planting seeds and hoping that, that can like branch out. So, when it comes to urban agriculture, um, you know, you and I have discussed in the past, and it's something that, I have on my campaign platform, that I want to open an agricultural center in CD13 once I'm in office. So that's a good reason to vote for me, folks.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
so what from your perspective, what would be like the advantages of having a facility like that has a learning center in it, the whole 9 yards, like we had talked about.
Wow.
We were we had identified this one property over by the river,
Mhm,
and I remember we
mhm.
had talked about that. So, from your perspective, what would be the advantages of having something like that in a council district?
There are so many advantages that it's just unbelievable about all the benefits to having something like that. Let me just start off by saying, after operating this mobile food pantry, giving people food for the past couple years, I've come to really understand the mechanics of it, what are possible solutions, and in my opinion, the solution to ending world hunger is really teaching people how to fish. So teaching the people how to grow their own food is the only sustainable method that I see, because we will always have hunger issues and people, there will always be food pantries to feed people, but if we teach people how to grow their own food, then they won't be so dependent on food pantries. You never know what catastrophe may hit or anything. People, food pantries come and go, they lose access to funding or access to food sources. So then what are you going to do for you and your family to survive? And the bottom line is learning how to produce your own food is the key to survival, to human survival. So I'm a big advocate for agricultural education. When it comes to urban agriculture, because we do live here in Los Angeles in primarily a concrete city, and we don't have access to large amounts of land or whatever, is to start small in your house with simple ways of learning how to grow herbs or greens, tomatoes, things of that nature, if you live in an apartment and you don't have access to land. If you have
I
a
have a
backyard, uh-huh.
I have a tomato plant on my windowsill. As a matter of fact, I have a
Awesome.
whole garden on my windowsill, but
So proud of you. So
every inch of it is got something growing on it.
oh, good, good. Yes, yes, yes. So you are a role model. So you guys, you listen to what Rachel says, because she is practicing what she preaches. And so, yes, you should have something growing in your house, tomatoes or whatever. If you have a backyard space, there you can do a vertical, like hydroponics farm model, which doesn't have to be really expensive to install in your backyard, and even aquaponics, and to learn how to produce your own fish and vegetables. And so the other benefits is not only Will it help you to survive in case of emergencies or just to better your health by increasing access to produce on a regular basis that you may not be able to afford? Also, it helps reduce water. So when you have urban agriculture in a vertical farming situation, there is a lot of water conservation. So you don't need as much water as a traditional farm, and you don't need the same amount of space, of course, than a traditional farm. So you're saving on energy, you're saving on water, and people are getting healthier and, and it's self-sustaining. So those are some of the benefits. And then also it can scale up to be a commercial operation that can also be monetized for anybody. So that's a win-win all across the board. And our bodies make up, it may sound boring when you talk about nutrition and so forth, but our bodies are made up of minerals and so forth. And so by digesting plants, we are putting minerals, the added minerals and nutrients that our bodies need, or to be replaced with certain minerals and so forth. So it's a good thing.
Absolutely. And I really want to get this done. Hopefully as a pilot, and hopefully it'll grow from there. But the other part is the learning center within the agricultural center. I just can't wait to see the kids show up from a school class, and here we have dirt for them to dig in, and
And
that's just
worms to play with.
yeah, worms, and yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
teaching them how to compost. Yeah.
yeah, no, and I could just see it in my head, like how cute that would, it's all going to be.
And not only, of course, I mean, it's cute and it's adorable, but not only that, there has been research shown that studies kids that grow their own produce and fruits and vegetables tend to eat it more.
Yeah,
So they grow, yeah, they're so fascinated by growing it that they will eat it, as opposed to if they saw it from a grocery store, they may not have interest. So that's a added benefit too, because now you're getting the children healthier because they want to eat what they grew.
the other thing that I want to do once in office is incentivize people to go and you know what the district will help them. My office will help them identify places where we can do community gardens, and so that we can get everybody together, including the kids, and you know have a little bit of just grow food, and also have a place to come in community, and bring folks together, because I really feel like with the age of social media and all of that, we end up talking past each other and sometimes yelling past each other, and a lot of times we are just not in community together.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, and that's a really powerful tool. I mean, when it comes to food, it seems like food is one of the main things that can bring community together. I know as I do these food pantries on a weekly basis, I get a big kick out of handing people bags of produce and different grocery items, and then hearing the people that come exchange recipe ideas. Like, oh, somebody will say, oh, I don't know how
Right.
to make that. Well, yeah, let me tell you, put some garlic and then add this and add that. And I just love to see how that brings all races, all walks of life together, just exchanging information because they're excited about a food recipe. So that's a beautiful part too.
Yeah. it really was amazing when we were handing out food over the summer with you. Um, and just there was that one day that that woman said that if it wasn't for you, her and I think it was her elderly parents wouldn't eat, and it just that hit me pretty hard.
Yeah, yeah.
We weren't able to, keep it up here in Rampart Village, but you know, there are, folks like you and is it Urban Partners and Trinity, with Trinity and uh, other folks who are still out there, making sure people have something to eat.
Hmm. Yep. And like I said, the next level is teaching them how to eat themselves, how to grow
Yeah.
this food themselves. With the technology now and vertical farming, hydroponics,
How
farm.
does that how does that work, Nina? For people that don't know what vertical farming looks like, what would be a quick description of what that would
Sure. Hydroponics is growing food in water. So you're not using a soil-based system. And hydroponics is one of the oldest forms of farming because we get food from water. You can get fruits and vegetables and seaweed and everything purely that just grew in water and not soil. So hydroponics, hydro is water, so that's what you can grow, that type of system. And then vertical farming are the is a method that you can use for hydroponics. So vertical means up instead of horizontal, so it's growing food in a hydroponic system that goes up. So you have these grow towers, and usually you do feed the vegetables and fruits, whatever you're growing that's water based. You can give them liquid nutrients because you don't have the soil factor, or people combine it with aquaponics, which is fish farming. So aqua
be?
fish. So you use the fish waste, when they excrete, that is a nutrient that will cause the plants to grow and have the nutrients that they need. So you can use that aquaponic system with the fish waste, giving nutrients to the plant, or you can use the add some liquid nutrients, and they have organic and then they have chemical based, which I don't recommend. I would prefer the organic, but it helps to grow your plants very healthy in that water system.
Yeah, I would love to see every building, especially the tall ones, where their facades are nothing but growing, you know, plants and food, but even non-food plants. Um, and
Flowers and yeah,
right.
yeah, all kind of play exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. And again, that is another benefit to growing plants is that research has shown when human beings live in a concrete jungle, when they're in an urban environment with asphalt streets and so forth, that our brain is naturally wired to connect with nature. So
Right.
when we're taken out of that environment and in an urban environment, they said the human shows more aggression like a caged animal because we're cut off from that wiring that our brains have with nature. So by recreating a natural environment through planting, plants and so forth, then that will help the agitation that is so prevalent in human society and the stress, because we are disconnected from that natural environment. That's why when people go to Jamaica or Africa or any tropics where it's a lot of trees and you just feel so zen and relaxed and everything. Hawaii even, everything is cool and laid back because they're in that natural environment.
Yeah, when I lived in DC, I lived right across this for like 3 or 4 years. I lived right across the street from an arm of Rock Creek Park.
Oh,
And
wow.
for those that don't know, Rock Creek Park pretty much goes up the center of DC. Uh, and there was one day that I took the paths, and I was able to, inside the city, walk from my house. As soon as I crossed the street, I was able to take paths all the way to Maryland. It
Wow.
took me about 3 hours to walk there. But yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that I do kind of miss living out here is the woods, you
Mhm.
know.
Mm.
Um, and I do need to make more of an effort, maybe to get over to the Arboretum over there off the
Mhm.
210. I've
Mhm.
shot. I was on a couple of shoots over there. It's really nice. And
Mhm.
I think also Franklin Park is probably one of like, the best kept secret in
Pasadena.
Los Angeles.
Yep,
Yes,
yep.
Pasadena.
Pasadena, Altadena's got some
Yeah,
beautiful
yeah.
environments there. That's what I do. I try to find little, what I call mini retreat places to just go escape. It might be Lake Shrine or something like that, and I'll just go sit in nature and chill out. Chill out by the trees, or go out to the water, the beach, and just sit and re-energize. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And then, also with the urban agricultural thing, I'm also looking at it as a jobs plan, as a jobs program. Um,
excellent, excellent.
you know,
Yes, most
I
definitely.
think that, we're talking about jobs from anywhere, and these are green jobs. These fall under the Green
Mm,
New Deal, uh, job program. And so, not just the people that grow it, but there's also can be manufacturing involved with the products that are grown, like
mhm.
jellies and jams, and
Exactly,
canning, and
exactly.
whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and then there's the distribution, and then
Transportation, yeah, the whole
yeah.
entire value added system.
Mhm.
Exactly. That is what I'm planning on bringing to Africa, to Ghana, as a Queen Mother for development, but building a manufacturing plant. And I want to do import export between Los Angeles, between the US and various African countries. But absolutely, it brings forth jobs. I was very happy. I don't know if you should look up this model, but Compton, the city of Compton, just had a huge multi-million-dollar vertical farm built in the city of Compton. And right now they're
Really?
hiring. Yes, 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 yes.
Wow, I missed that. Why
You
didn't you tell me
gotta,
about that?
it was just like a
Your
week.
fault. You didn't tell me.
It was just like a week or two ago, I saw that, maybe 2 weeks
Okay.
ago, I saw an article pop
All right.
up
So you're
on
telling me now.
yeah, yeah, now that we're talking about it. So yeah, and then so a couple weeks ago I saw the article about this multi-million-dollar vertical farm
Mhm.
company coming in and building a huge, oh, it's so amazing. You should see the pictures, Rachel. Absolutely amazing vertical farm. And then, like last week, I saw some billboards offer that they took out for jobs. They're saying, hey, if you want
Wow.
to work in a vertical farm environment, we're looking for you. There's pay. And so that is wonderful that that came into the city of Compton, which is a very under-resourced
Yeah.
community.
No, I have to look into that. And everybody else out there, take a look at that, because that's the future, folks. And that's what I hope to bring to not only CD13 but to the city of Los Angeles.
Same
We
here.
need these
Same here.
outside of the box types of programs and ideas, and To me, there are no stupid ideas, only stupid answers.
Well, and one thing that's very important when it comes to the city of Los Angeles, because that's my intention to bring vertical farms here in the underserved communities. But China was able to, in a matter of a few years, pull themselves up out of poverty into becoming a country of wealth. And their primary reason for that was through agriculture. So the government actually encouraged, had incentives and so forth for the population to get off into agriculture, and that's what got them up out of poverty. So everybody's got to eat. That's
Yep.
not going anywhere. Everybody has to eat. So agriculture needs to be rebranded, and that's part of my goal. And what I'm planning to do is to promote the power in agriculture and to rebrand it, because it's not a dirty job that's just for the poor or free
Right.
labor, that's
Yeah.
through modern technology, now, especially with vertical farming and hydroponics and so forth, that you can make that job a whole lot easier. And it's going to be very profitable, because you can grow in a hydro environment, you can grow your vegetables and fruits a lot faster than the traditional soil-based farming methods.
And
So.
it's not like we don't have plenty of sunshine.
Exactly, exactly. That too. That too. So it is
Um,
time for a food revolution.
so yes, a food revolution. That reminds me of Jamie Oliver's Food Revolution. Did you see his series?
No. Uh-uh.
No, you should check it out. He had like 3 seasons, and one season he actually came to Los Angeles, and he was basically trying to get schools here in Los Angeles to change how they feed children. When he showed up, everything was mass produced and frozen, and it was just heated up in a microwave. And he went into the kitchens, and they had all this beautiful equipment, professional kitchens. Yeah, a chef's dream, anything and everything you would want to have to cook with. And here these people were microwaving everything, you know. And so he came in and tried to show them that you can do all of this and cook healthy food for kids, and it will actually end up saving you money.
Saving you money and your health, and your health. So we have gotten off balance, from the old ways that our grandmothers and our mothers and so forth
Yeah.
did with growing, taking the time out to cook. And now a lot of our young people don't have those skills anymore, and they just want to live off of processed foods and fast foods. And that's exactly what is killing us and destroying our health. So let's have some fun and learn how to bake again and create things
Yeah.
from scratch again, and make agriculture and cooking sexy again. Don't you
Yeah,
want to
and
be
just to
sexy again?
make
Rachel?
it
We be sexy.
um, food is sexy. Um, um, so just to wrap up on the Jamie Oliver thing, he actually failed to get them to change their ways.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I think that that's something else that the city doesn't have much control over LAUSD. That's a county thing. But I would like to see, once I get into office, what buttons I can push, to see if we can get our kids some decent food, because it's absolutely ridiculous.
Hmm.
And then I'm not sure I should let this cat out of the bag, but I'm going to do it anyway. Um, Nina and I don't know. Some folks may not know. I was president of the Rampart Village Neighborhood Council for the last 2 years. I was on the board for 4 years. And one of the things that I wanted to do during my term as president was to bring a farmer's market to Rampart Village.
Yeah.
And so we, Nina and I did find a spot for it, and it's a cozy little spot, and we think it's perfect. It's a whole block, and the folks that own the property on both sides of the block are very excited. And we were about ready to really, dig into this, and then the pandemic hit. And so that kind of, put the brakes on things. But things are looking better. We're seeing some light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And so I called up Nina the other day and I said, hey, what do you think? You want to get this going? And so, no promises at this point, folks, but probably within the next, 3 to 6 months.
Not 6 months. We could get it going. That's too long, but yeah, we are bring.
Hey, I wanna, under promise and over deliver. I don't want anybody to come back and say, hey, it's 4 months. And where's my farmer's market? Yeah. No, we're gonna try to get it going. So Rampart Village Farmers Market, if all goes well, coming soon to Rampart Village.
Yes. Yay.
Yay. And and the things that Nina and I have, because she's in showbiz, and folks probably don't know too much about me. I moved out here to get into showbiz, to work on movie sets, and then I got into producing and things like that. And that's actually how I met Nina, was through a film project. And so we've been talking about doing like an international, having an international theme, like every time we have the farmers market. We don't know if it's going to be once a week or every 2 weeks or once a month, but we're figuring that out. But have an international theme, and like she was saying, people don't know how to fix food, so we'll have like cooking classes outside, and and just really make it a fun event, and a place for the community to come together, because there's really nothing really within striking distance. I think the nearest one is the Echo Park Farmers Market, that's of any note.
I was talking to a friend the other day about us bringing the farmers market on, and she lives in the community. She was like, I didn't even know that this area is Rampart Village, but she was like,
Really?
so she said, yeah, please let me know so I don't have to go so far to the farmers market. So I know we have one person who will be attending.
Well, that's a start.
Yeah.
But no, the within the neighborhood council boundaries of Rampart Village, there's 25,000 people, and it's a very small area. Rampart Village and this area, Westlake and whatnot, is the most densest areas in the city. And so, there's plenty of people here. There's no doubt. We just, we'll build it and they will come.
Yeah, and they will come. And and this is important too to get started, Rachel, because there's a lot of grocery store closures going on now,
Oh,
which
I
is
know.
pretty scary. Like Ralph's is closing multiple stores. Food
Yeah.
for Less is closing a lot of stores. So we don't even know in the Rampart Village community how many, the lifespan of these stores. So again, it's going to fall back on the farmers markets and people growing their own food for sustainability.
Yeah. So, so that's exciting. What else? Is there anything else we want to talk about while we got people tuned in? Let's, what else is exciting?
What else is exciting? My life is exciting. Your life is exciting. Well,
Yeah,
let's
we
be
try.
whole. is going to be doing classes at the Department of Parks and Recs. I just established a contract with them to teach these holistic wellness classes at this one park called George Washington Carver Park. And George Washington Carver was a famous Black farmer. He helped to invent the peanut butter, but so I will be teaching classes there, and then also in
Where's that
Lamar
park?
Huh?
Where's that park?
That's in Watts.
Okay.
That's in Watts, and then I'm also going to be teaching these holistic wellness classes in Lamert Park in the Crenshaw area, and so hopefully, with the farmers market, we can bring some Let's Be Whole wellness classes there too to that community, so we can
Yeah.
teach the city of Los Angeles how to be healthy naturally and not be dependent on so many pharmaceuticals and
Yeah.
toxic foods.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm all on board for that.
Yes, yes. So I want to know, I have some questions though. I want to
Oh,
know
you do? Okay. We're gonna turn this, we're gonna flip this interview around, are we? All right.
Exactly.
Bring it on. I'm ready for the tough questions. Let's do it.
So I want to know, what if you make it as city councilwoman, like what are your priorities? What are you planning on doing for this area besides the urban agriculture?
The number one problem in not only City 13, but in the city of Los Angeles, in the county of Los Angeles, in the state of California, and in a lot of places across the country, is housing and homelessness. And we can't talk about one without talking about the other, because they are, interconnected, intertwined. So, to me, after being the chair of my planning and land use committee for my neighborhood council for the last 4 years, the underlying problem is the policies within City Hall do not incentivize developers to build the quantity of low-income housing. And what I mean by that is housing that people making $25,000 or $30,000 a year can afford. These are your average workers. They're not building them in the quantity that we need, and leaving it up to the free market is not working. Trickle down housing is not working. It is a failed policy, and we keep getting pushed and pushed by Sacramento and developers and real estate associations and et cetera, that this Reaganomics type of idea applied to housing, that it works, and that it will free up, that people move up into the more expensive units if we build them, and that'll free up the lower cost units. It's a fallacy. It does not work. It has not worked. And so right now I'm working with the group that's I have been for the last couple of months, and this was actually our the last video cast that we did. I'm working with the Public Bank of LA folks who are trying to get a public bank here in Los Angeles. And I think that this is one of the greatest opportunities to create a funding mechanism, not just for housing, which it can definitely help with that, but also to help with funding and underwriting of small businesses, particularly in communities like where you're from, Nina, that are underserved. Because if you want to start, if you're a young Black person and you want to, or even if you're older, um, if you want to start a business and you walk into a traditional bank, even if you had the best business plan, in the whole wide world, and your credit was up to speed and all of that, chances are you probably will get turned from
Mhm.
traditional banking. However, if you were to have somebody who was like quote unquote big enough to say co-sign, in other words, guarantee
Mhm.
in case of default, then that can help. And other programs that are like this, um, the default rate is only like 1 or 2%
Mhm.
when
Mhm.
we invest in our communities this way.
Mhm.
And so, on $100 million, say, that is kept in the bank, all we're doing is putting our signature down, saying, if something goes wrong, if it goes south, we'll pony up the money. So, we're only looking at, a few $1 million out the door, but look at all of that entrepreneur, economic stimulus
Mhm.
that can happen to bring our communities, to life. And I'm just
Exactly.
really super excited about that in
That's
particular,
awesome.
because the way that we're funding things right now, just you know, look at the Triple H money, the housing money.
Mhm.
40% of that has gone to what they call soft costs. That means that 40% of that did not go into actual 2x4s and drywall, you know?
Mhm.
And so that's everything that's been coming out of the city hall, just in my mind, is not working.
Mhm.
LASA, the Los Angeles the county, Los Angeles Housing Services Authority, um, in 2019 housed 22,000 people. 22,000 people. And yet the rate of homelessness went up.
Exactly.
Why
Exactly.
is that? It's because the rents keep going up, they keep getting higher and higher, the wages do not go up, and people are not being able to afford to stay in their places, and they get kicked out. It's simple. It's
Mhm.
very simple.
Mhm.
So I'm a big proponent also of social housing. We as a government, we need to start building housing, or also uh, going in and buying apartment buildings. Like the apartment building I'm in, you could probably pick it up for $2 or $3 million. It's got 21 units in it, you know, um, and the rents don't have to be what they are right now. Which I got in at the beginning of the 2010 at like
Mhm.
$800 a month. Now I'm facing $1,250 with the
Wow.
rent increases, and it's RSO. And the other units like mine are renting for $1,500 and $1,600 a month, and I live in a studio apartment. How is
That's
this
why
sustainable? It's not.
exactly. It's not sustainable. And that's why I signed up for a class that I start, I think it's in a week or two, and it's going to go for several months. But this is on building intentional communities.
Yeah,
So I will learn about how to build intentional community. And that is where my mind is at after experiencing homelessness myself for several years and being housed through that Measure H money. With the help of LASA, uh, I do see, I have been able to have a personal experience and know what works and what doesn't work when
right.
it comes to housing the homeless. I became homeless due to a domestic violence situation that I was in, and I had to leave my own home, which threw me in a period of homelessness for a couple of years. So I think that in retrospect, after having that experience, that creating like-minded populations, you know, communities, like people having a community of women who who have experienced domestic violence and they need to get on their feet, or people in our situation who are artists, independent artists or creators, and like you said, because of the rents, we can't be sustainable. It's hard to be sustainable with paying that monthly rent. So having an artist, the intentional community for artists and so forth. So this is my interest. This is something that I intend to work on, with being able to offer housing within these intentional communities. But that is very important to bring for, like you said, for sustainability. It should be based on people's incomes. But I do want to say, you know, from this experience, when it comes to housing the homeless that are dealing with mental health issues, that it's important that we create a community that they would have more monitoring, like they need more hands-on assistance. I was thrown into a housing project for the homeless where it was everybody, you know, whether you had severe mental health issues, drug addictions, or like my situation, something because of domestic violence, and just putting us all in this one model does not work. And when you're dealing with people with severe mental health issues, it's important that they get the proper mental health support that they need, and not just kind of put them in an independent free for all environment, because so much havoc can take place. So it's one thing that we say, oh, you know, nobody should be on the street. The city needs to house the homeless, but it has to be very well orchestrated and organized to make sure that people at their certain levels, whatever the issues that made them homeless, that they have the proper support to get back on their feet. So it goes a little deeper than just housing everybody.
Yeah, no, and you bring up an excellent point, and it's something that I want to push for the 13th district is creating, whether it's built from scratch or an existing facility that can be rehabbed. And folks, just so you know, I was an architect for almost 20 years before I moved out here. So, you know, I have a handle on some of these things. And um, a mental health facility, a city-owned, a municipal mental health facility needs to happen.
Yes,
There is no question in my mind
absolutely.
that the 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 healthcare. I'm vice chair of a regional community advisory committee for LA Care, and you know, mental health is always a subject, and how we care for folks,
Mm,
uh, you know, who have trouble, and there really, you know, there isn't, you know, since Ronald Reagan, he basically, you know, I think it was Nixon just before him or something, really, you know, decimated our mental health
mhm.
healthcare system, and you know, we've got to get back to basics. You know,
Yeah.
we've got to have these facilities that, you know, if somebody's a danger to themselves or others, they don't belong, you know, and they have a you know, a mental deficiency, um, or problem, you know, they don't necessarily belong in jail.
Mm-mm.
You know,
No, no,
they
and
belong
that's been
somewhere where they can get proper treatment.
exactly, exactly.
You
And
know,
even with the proper treatment, like, you know, having a solution like with the programs that my organization Let's Be Whole offers, where it's very peaceful and tranquil and zen like, because the old model of mental health facilities, was like the shock treatment and
Yeah, yeah.
putting
No, no,
people
no,
in
no.
straight jackets and,
No, we're not,
and
no,
torturous.
we're not talking that. No.
Yes,
Uh-uh.
exactly.
One flew over the cuckoo's nest, right?
Exactly, exactly. So we went from that extreme to just letting all the people out. So anybody who has a mental illness, they just let them out on the street. And it breaks my heart, like say if I go to the store or something and I see someone talking to themselves and
Yeah.
disheveled, I just want to pick them up and, put them somewhere, but I don't know. There's
There
no
isn't
place.
anywhere.
Yeah,
That's
there
the
is.
problem.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And so we definitely need some real solutions when it comes to that. And on that note too, which goes back to our conversation around food and agriculture, again, I have done the studies and pulled up the research that even the proper nutrition can
Mhm.
transform a person's mental health. So a
Sure.
lot of these mental illnesses that we see with people on the street, a lot of it has to do with not having the proper nutrients that are feeding into their brains. They're barely eating
Mhm.
or they're only taking drugs, and the foods that they do eat are just processed foods with no nutritious value.
Right.
So you just have all these issues, on top of each other. So people lose their minds. But if they had the proper diet with the right nutrients, a calm environment, if they
Mhm.
need certain medications, you put them on
Right.
medications and you could control, they could control their behavior more.
Sure. Sure. And then, I'm hoping that once the main facility is built, then we can also branch out into the rest of the city with maybe like satellite clinics. But I do think that we need a full-on, you know, facility, no messing around, you know,
Exactly.
facility of a good of a decent size. And I hope people aren't going to see this and freak out and go, "Oh my God, I don't want these people in my, my backyard." But look, you've already got them in your front yard. They're out on the corners. You see them every day. You drive past them every day. Same thing with the homeless. Sweeping them under the rug is not going to work. Um, we need to have real solutions. And my position is, you know, everything that's been tried so far has been a failure, um, and it seems like those in power at the moment want to continue the status quo. I say the status quo has got to go, and you know we we got to move, right. The status quo has got to go, and if you believe like I do that the status quo has got to go, then yeah, hit up rachelrose4la.com. Check out the website. It's got the information on it. And then if you like what you see, the donate button's right there. There's also the join button. Join the campaign, make a donation, and help me get into office, because we cannot continue this. This is not sustainable, folks.
Yeah.
I hate to get on my soapbox, but here I am. Thank you, Nina. You put me there. You're the one that wanted to ask me
I'm an
questions.
instigator.
Um, but yeah, no, we yeah. And the funny thing is that I have spent the time. I put the effort in over the last 4 years, and I have been in the meetings, and I thousands of hours of meetings, and I have talked to stakeholders and city officials and organizations, and La- LASA, any meeting that I could get into, I was there, and I listened, I learned, I also spoke up. uh, you know whether it be the planning department or whatever. And so at this point, I really feel like I have a 4-year degree in LA City Hall. And so yeah, so I'm chomping at the bit. I need people to support what I'm trying to do here, and get me into office, because I'm ready to hit the ground running. I swear to you, Nina, on day freaking one, I am ready to go. You know, I know, I still need community input, and the sand does shift under our feet, in the political realm, but at least I've developed the values, uh, the foundational values that will allow me to really be a bold change in LA City Hall.
Well, from what this is not a paid advertisement. I was not endorsed by Rachel to say
No, no, you weren't.
this is coming from the heart, but from what I've known about Rachel for as long as I've known her, she is the type of person to make sure that the job is done. I remember, like she said, we worked on a film project together, and she was one of the producers. And I remember that during the production, for various reasons, that the director had been operating in, that we did run out of funds, and it was Rachel that stepped up to the plate and immediately ran out to problem solve and bring in the capital that was needed so we could finish production. So I remember her just really being intent in going out there and making it happen. And that's what we need, not people that are talkers or people that are complainers, but people that are activists that do things in action. And so that was my first interaction with Rachel. And then looking at her over the years, she's been consistent, through action. And that's what we want, is someone who acts and not talk.
Yep. Yeah, and thank you, Nina. And no, I did not ask you to do this at a time. Um, and thank you. But that's one of the other things that I was able to accomplish while on in the Rampart Village Neighborhood Council, is to put my money where my mouth is, stick my neck out there, and put forward motions. And you can find these on the website. Um, that that are bold, and that like one of them was, and I don't think a neighborhood council has, out of 99 of them have done this, a motion to get rid of qualified immunity for the police, so that we can actually hold them accountable when they screw up, or do bad things on purpose. But yeah, the status quo has got to go. Does that answer your questions?
Yes, thank you. Those sound lovely and very much needed
Yeah,
for the city, period. So I hope that people will get out and vote for Rachel, because I know she's going to make a major impact in her community as well as the city at large.
yeah. Well, thank you, Nina. And I always have fun talking to you. We always laugh.
I know, right?
No matter how serious a subject we talk about, we always find a way to crack each other up.
Exactly. So yeah, let's get started on this farmers market. And I do
Let's make it happen.
the with the agricultural learning center and so forth. And if you guys would like to find out or to contact me, you can reach me, visit my website, letsbewhole.com, and that's LETSBEWHOLE.com. And my email is letsbewhole@gmail.com. And again, I'm Queen Nina Womack, and happy to be spending this time with Rachel Luckey on Conversations in LA.
You are so awesome, Nina, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and it is my pleasure to know you. My pleasure to know you, and I just I just adore you.
Oh, thank you. Likewise, likewise.
Have a good evening, Nina and Queen Mother, and everyone else. Have a great evening. Thank you for tuning in to Conversations with LA. I'm still working on trying to line something up for next Monday, but I don't know yet. So stay tuned to Facebook, Rachel Rose at Rachel Rose for LA, also Twitter at Rachel Rose for LA, the number 4, and we're going to try to. I don't know what we have in store for the future, but as far as Conversations with LA goes, but we are going to do our best to make it interesting. So thanks again, everyone, and have a great evening.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, Nina.
Bye-bye.